Hi guys, so just wanted to give you a review today on the UKDFBA British Final, beating the 10-year anniversary UK International Finals, qualifying in the Heart of England one, I do believe, if I've got that right. I'll give you a bit of an overview on my thoughts and experience of the day, in case you're thinking about competing in it next time. We're just on the way to check-in, slightly late, but it's cool. I don't think I've been this brown since Skegness. So we've gone for a green eyeshadow today to match my bikini. And minimal makeup, because I'm a bodybuilder now. So Nick's in the back with all the bags. My teeth always look so white. And Jen's driving. Now I'm feeling nice and dry this morning. I never have a chance to look at what I look like on a show day because I'm always just so focused on getting my food down and everything. I've made my rice really crap. I remember saying this about the potato. I made my potato really crap. Well, now I've made rice really crap and it's even worse than dry potato, let me tell you. I've got some baby rice.
Is it with you?
It's fast acting though.
Yeah, I know, it was so tough.
It never ends. This is determination. This is worse than diet. It's like so inedible. We had in the bath overnight to try and cook it / not let me have some kind of weird food poisoning. Anyway, dry rice it is for the next 4 meals. Can't wait. If not, I'm having rice cakes. No, I'll get it down. Right, let's go win a show. Apprehensive, nervous, excited. Last one. What do you think, Nick? Any thoughts?
Exactly. 1 second.
Let's go. Dry rice all day, let's go, win it. Oh, I must be getting linked so I can see a bit of a vein coming in my forehead.
Oh, you see that?
It's down one side, and that means that my carbs are working, right? We're getting there, we're getting there. Not on till the afternoon, so no rush, just slow, nice pushing with them carbs today. So I'm going to rate this in categories as I've done for other shows before. So registering for the show was really easy to do. I do believe that I first found them on Instagram and I found all the links on there. They've got a website, so then I sort of registered on the website and went through the forms that were sent over. I think it was the Google forms that they sent over, so don't remember it being that difficult to register, and they were very responsive on email. Within 24 hours they responded back with any questions, so thumbs up on that one. That's really good and a really good start to any show registration. So I'm going to rate the qualifying and judging rules. Again, really good. All the information is on the website. It's only a small website, so it's not hard to find things. Very clear about the posing suits. So for my category, women's bodybuilding, I had to have a 3/4 sort of coverage on the bikini bottom, so you can't have a thong. So I had to adapt my suit from the NPA, and I got a second pair of bottoms for the UKDFBA one. So I wore the same suit but essentially the different bottoms. But it was very clear about that, and also the mandatory poses that were required very clear, so I could start practicing those sort of weeks before and know what I was doing with that. The Backstage Experience then, when I arrived at the show, I qualified in a previous show in a different place, and then I had the British Finals in the arena. So I had 2 different experiences at the qualifier and then at the British Finals. So I'm just going to touch on the qualifier. That was in Leicester, but a different venue, and it was just a bit chaotic, if I'm honest. I didn't really like it. I wasn't really made to feel at ease. There was just hundreds of competitors in a queue, and obviously when you compete and you don't really want to be stood up for a long amount of time because your legs start swelling and you're not optimal. So I was a bit unnerved by that, and we were waiting for a good 20 minutes. Everyone who we were in the queue with was lovely. And when I actually got to the front of the queue, the judges and everyone who was helping with the show, like the officials, were really nice. But the actual, like, where do we need to be situation wasn't great at first on the qualifier. When I arrived, I didn't even know what was going on because the queue were that big and the venue, there were people queuing out the door. However, the finals was much better. It was at the Athena Arena in Leicester, and it was much, much bigger, way more impressive. And when I arrived, they knew my name, like just by looking at me. So they actually knew our words, learned who the athletes were, which was really impressive. I went in actually on my own because someone else was parking the car. So I went in on my own with a bag and went up the stairs. It was very clear what to do. Checked in, literally went into the sort of arena just to have a look at it, and then someone came and grabbed me and went, "Do you want to see where the changing rooms are?" I mean, it's a massive, massive venue. The other thing I'd say bad about it is that the changing room is right at the top of the building, up some really steep stairs, so going up and down there is a bit of a pain. So you want to minimise that, but they like showed me all the shortcuts to get to the changing room, made sure I knew where the pump up area was. The other thing I'd say about the pump up room or the like getting ready room is really small, so you can probably only fit your category of people in there, if that. But really nice lighting on the mirrors, and sort of like you left your stuff in there and it felt really safe to leave all your like bags in there. And it was well out of the way, so yeah, it was like essentially like a dressing room for people who sort of were on like shows and stuff like that. So really good when I arrived at the venue, that, you know, it reassured me that they knew who I were, they showed me around, they showed me the shortcuts to get to the changing room, so I knew exactly where to go and I weren't wandering around all day and sort of like lay my legs swell up even more, basically. That's kind of covered the backstage experience, the athlete areas, the check-in and the pump-up areas. So the flow of the show and the organisation of the show absolutely excellent to a T. I do believe they were running behind on the day, but with any bodybuilding show you never know what to expect, so that can't really be helped. I don't think they stopped for any reason all day. It was just the fact that there were so many competitors that it kind of run over by about an hour and a half. But that is where it is, and as a competitor it's your job to keep on it, or your coach's job to keep on it and adapt to the timings and put the food in appropriately. But the microphone system was very good, and they always told you where you were at when. We had a programme like you do with any show, and it showed you what categories were when, so I just had someone keeping track of that for me. So yeah, pretty good organisation, I would say, and pretty good organisation of when we were asking for like the updates from the officials. In contrast again to the qualifier show, that wasn't as organised, and they actually messed up my music as well. So that wasn't great, but actually the finals, absolutely spot on, I can't fault it. Got the music right, we knew what was happening. When we asked for updates, they were there, and they were more than happy to help any athlete who wanted it. So really, really good at the finals. On stage direction and call outs for the UKDFBA show, international finals, and also the qualifier, to be fair, really, really good. They didn't rush you, but they were probably efficient, I would say. But it has to be, if it's a big show with, you know, plus 120 competitors, they've got to be efficient. So as opposed to other shows I've done, IFBA, MPA and NABA before, they were more speedy, I would say. But it did give you still enough time to hold the pose for long enough. And to be honest, it was welcomed after doing 5 shows, you know, quite tired by that point. So as much as I wanted to be on stage, I also wanted not to be doing posing for too long and holding those poses for too long. So yeah, probably welcomed, but probably could have done with an extra maybe like 10 seconds just to transition between sort of mandatory poses. But no big deal. The sound system's very good. I could hear everything on stage, and also the lighting's very, very good at that show, at that arena. Very professionally done. And also like the DJ sort of started your music at the right point when you're on stage or off stage, whatever you'd requested. Very, very good, and very, very sort of reactive to what you wanted. You could speak to them just before you went on to do your final posing routine as well. So 10 out of 10 for that one. So I'm going to touch on something else. Because they're a natural federation, they do have to have sort of drug testing. There was a drug testing room, and I don't know the situation with this, but my experience was I didn't ever see anyone getting tested in there. I didn't get tested, and I didn't see it being used. So that's all I can say about that one. I'm not saying it didn't get used, but for the amount of times I went up and down the stairs, I didn't see it getting used. So make of that what you want, but there you go. That's my experience on that one. The tanning process was very, very good. Nicola at A1 Tan, really, really good, really professional. She's a competitor herself, so she competes, so she gets what you're going through basically. The scale of the tanning tent at the finals was far, far larger than the one at the qualifier, obviously. But she managed it really well, and her team really, really friendly, and allowed you to either pay like cash or bank transfer, whatever suited the athlete basically. And really good sort of tan coverage on that one. So the only thing I would say is, and this is just my personal preference, I took my own stage glaze. So you can get a really good one from Protan, because I think they do use, I believe they use vegetable oil, which I personally don't like. So that's the only thing I would say with that. With other federations that I've done, MPA and Liquid Sunrays, they use a proper sort of stage glaze, whereas the ones for the UKDFBA don't. So my personal preference is to take my own for that federation, but it's up to you what you do on that one. So I'm going to end on photo and video for the UKDFBA. So I did buy both the sets of photos from the qualifier and from the international finals. I think it was the same guy for both. Not as impressed as other federations I've competed with, to be honest, but still very good quality. I just found that it looked a little bit smooth, which is not really what you want when you've spent sort of like a good 20 plus weeks on a prep trying to get your legs cut. And that wasn't even for me, that was for like everybody. I would say the UK International Finals photography was better than the qualifier for the UKDFBA. I don't know if that's down to stage lighting or something like that. I did try to edit them myself again in Photoshop, but didn't quite work. I sharpened them up a little bit, but it's limited what you can do. And I contacted the photographer, who was very responsive, to be fair. So can't fault that side of things. However, the video for the UKDFBA, absolutely 20 out of 10. Really, really good. Very, very professionally put together, and for the price, I can't remember how much it was. I think it was something like £40 or £50 or something like that. I can't remember now, but really, really top quality, and filmed everyone equally. Just gave your category, and really, really good. Very impressed with the video. So photos could do with a bit more work, in my opinion. The video, couldn't fault it. So there's my take on the UKDFBA and competing in women's bodybuilding. I hope you found that useful. If you want to follow along for sort of more sort of show reviews as I compete, then give me a subscribe and follow my channel.